The fluorescent lights hummed their familiar tune as Maya Rodriguez pushed her cleaning cart through the empty Target store, the same route she'd taken every night for the past 3 years. It was 2:47 a.m., and the world outside had surrendered to darkness while she worked alone among the silent aisles. She'd always found comfort in the solitude. No customers, no chaos, just her and the rhythmic squeak of wheels on polished floors. But tonight felt different. Tonight the fitting room seemed to whisper. Maya knew the story by heart. The older employees told it with a mixture of morbid fascination and genuine disbelief. 15 years ago, 8-year-old Emma Chen had walked into fitting room number 4 with her mother's permission to try on a Halloween costume. Her mother, Linda, had waited outside, scrolling through her phone, while chatting with a friend about weekend plans. After 20 minutes of silence, Linda knocked. No response. She peered under the door. No feet visible. She called the manager, who unlocked the door. To reveal an impossible truth, the cubicle was empty. No Emma, no costume, no explanation. The police investigation consumed weeks. They interviewed employees, reviewed security footage, and searched every corner of the store. The cameras showed Emma entering the fitting room but never leaving. The walls were solid concrete. The ceiling was a continuous drop tile system with no access points large enough for a child. It was as if Emma Chen had simply vanished into thin air. Maya had always dismissed it as urban legend until she noticed the mirror. She'd been cleaning fitting room number 4, the same room where Emma disappeared, when she spotted something odd about the reflection. While wiping down the surface, her cloth caught on what felt like a hairline crack running vertically along the mirror's edge. Maya leaned closer, running her fingers along the seam. It was barely visible, so subtle that only someone cleaning inches away would notice. Her heart began to race as she pressed against different sections of the mirror. Most of it felt solid, but near the bottom right corner there was the slightest give. Maya glanced around the empty store, then pushed harder. With a soft click, a section of the mirror swung inward like a door. The smell hit her first, stale air mixed with something else, something that made her stomach clench. Maya pulled out her phone's flashlight and peered into the darkness beyond. A narrow passage, maybe 3 feet wide, stretched into the building's hidden bowels. The walls were unfinished drywall, and the floor was concrete, dusted with years of neglect. She should have called the police immediately. She should have backed away and never looked inside. But Maya thought of Linda Chen, who still came into the store sometimes, her eyes scanning the aisles with desperate hope, as if Emma might materialize between the clothing racks. Maya thought of the missing person flyers that had papered the town 15 years ago. Emma's gap-toothed smile beaming from every telephone pole and storefront window. Maya squeezed through the opening. The passage led to a small room, maybe 8 by 10 feet. Maya's flashlight beam revealed horrors that would stay with her forever. A mattress with Disney princess sheets, now stained and moth-eaten. Empty food containers scattered across the floor. A bucket in the corner that served an unthinkable purpose. And on the walls, dozens of photographs, surveillance shots of children in the store. Taken from hidden cameras, Maya now realized must be embedded throughout the building. In the center of the room lay a small skeleton, still wearing the tattered remains of a fairy costume. Maya's legs gave out. She sat heavily on the concrete floor, phone trembling in her hands as she dialed 911. Through her tears she noticed something else, a journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. The handwriting was a child's, but grew more sophisticated as the entries progressed. Day 1. The man said Mummy is looking for me. He said I have to be quiet and wait here until she finds me. I'm scared, but he brought me chicken nuggets. Day 15. Still waiting. The man says Mummy is still looking. He teaches me things, reading and writing. He says I'm special. Day 43. I asked when I can see Mummy. The man got angry. He said Mummy doesn't want me anymore, that she already has a new little girl. That can't be true. Mummy loves me. Day 87. I don't think Mummy is really looking anymore. The man gets angry when I cry. I try to be good. Day 134. The man brought another book. He said if I'm very good, maybe someday I can go out, but only if I never tell anyone about our special place. He said Mummy would be very mad if she knew where I am. Day 200. I understand now. Mummy thinks I'm gone. The man says I'm his little girl now. I don't want to be his little girl, but I don't know how to leave. Day 267. I tried to leave today when he brought food. He hurt me. He said if I try again, he'll hurt Mummy too. I can't let that happen. I'll be good. Day 356. It's been a year. The man brought a small cake. He said, "Happy anniversary of when you became my daughter." I cried, and he got mad again. Sometimes I dream I'm home, watching cartoons with Mommy on the couch. Day 445. I'm getting bigger. My clothes don't fit anymore. The man said he'll bring new clothes, but he didn't. It's cold here. I miss the sun. I miss the birds singing in the morning. Day 523. The man talked about other children in the store. He has pictures of them. I'm scared about what he might do. I want to warn them, but I can't get out of here. Day 601. I haven't felt well for days. The man didn't bring clean food. The water tastes bad. Sometimes I hear voices through the walls, people shopping in the store. I want to scream, but he said no one will hear me. And if I scream, he'll hurt them too. Day 649. I learned to write better with the books he brought. He says I'm smart, but I don't feel smart. A smart girl would have found a way to go home. Day 673. I'm very sick. The man hasn't come in 3 days. I think he went away and forgot about me. I wish I could tell Mummy I love her. I wish I could see the sun again. I'm not scared anymore. I think I'm going to sleep now. Day 675. Still here. Very weak. Mummy, if you ever read this, know that I thought about you every day. You're the best Mummy in the world. Sorry I couldn't find a way to come home. I love you forever. Maya's sobs echoed through the hidden chamber as police sirens wailed in the distance. She remained with Emma until the investigators arrived, unwilling to leave the child alone again, even in death. The investigation that followed unraveled 15 years of horror. The man Emma had written about was Robert Hayworth, a former store security guard who had constructed the hidden room during the store's renovation in 2008. He had installed a network of hidden cameras throughout the building and had been watching, waiting, and selecting his victims. Emma had been his first and, it turned out, his only success. Other attempted abductions had failed when children screamed or parents stayed too close. Hayworth had died 3 years after Emma's disappearance. His death by heart attack in a Florida motel room, initially unremarked and uninvestigated. He had simply walked away from his crime, leaving Emma to die slowly and alone. The hidden cameras revealed a disturbing pattern. For years, Hayworth had photographed hundreds of children, cataloguing their routines, studying their behaviors. Meyer discovered stacks of photos in his former home, children playing in the aisles, trying on clothes, distracted while their parents shopped. Some photos had annotations. Too clingy to mother. Parents don't pay attention. Possibility. Forensic psychologist Dr. Sarah Martinez explained to Meyer how Hayworth had used sophisticated psychological manipulation techniques with Emma. He created an alternate reality where he was her savior, not her captor. He told her that her mother didn't want her anymore, that he was protecting her from the outside world. It's a form of brainwashing we see in prolonged kidnapping cases. Meyer struggled to process this information. How did an 8-year-old child survive so long under those conditions? Children are incredibly resilient, Dr. Martinez explained. Emma adapted because she had no choice. But look at her diary. She never stopped loving her mother. She never stopped dreaming of home. That's what kept her human under inhuman circumstances. Linda Chen, now a woman of 53, with silver threading through her black hair, received the call from police at 4:30 a.m. 15 years of unanswered questions finally had a conclusion, though it wasn't the one she had prayed to receive. Meyer asked to meet Linda in person. They met at the cafe where Linda worked as a manager, the same place where she had worked for 15 years, keeping the same hours in case Emma ever came home and looked for her there. I used to dream about this moment, Linda said, her hands trembling as she held her coffee cup. I imagined someone telling me they found her, that she was alive, that she was coming home. I never imagined it would be like this. Meyer showed Linda some pages from Emma's diary, the parts that spoke of love for her mother, happy memories, dreams of being home. She wrote about you every day, Meyer said softly. Even at the end, even when she was dying, she was thinking of you. She knew you loved her. Linda cried as she read her daughter's words. She was so smart, always was. At 8 years old, she was already reading books for 10-year-olds. She wanted to be a writer when she grew up. She paused, realizing the cruel irony. I suppose she became one, in a way. Meyer was surprised to learn how Linda had spent the 15 years since Emma's disappearance. She never moved from the same house, keeping Emma's room exactly as it was. Every year on Emma's birthday, she organized a birthday party, inviting neighbors and friends to celebrate her daughter's life. She never stopped searching. I hired private investigators with money that should have been for Emma's college, Linda explained. I traveled to other states following false leads. I put up posters in cities hundreds of miles from here. People told me to move on, to accept. But how do you accept that your daughter just disappeared? Linda had become an advocate for families of missing children, helping other mothers navigate the legal and emotional system of despair. She knew horrific statistics, how many children disappear each year, how many are never found, how the chances of finding a child alive decrease drastically after the first 48 hours. But I never stopped hoping, she said. Even after all these years, part of me still hoped Emma would walk through the door, taller, older, but still my little girl. As the investigation continued, more disturbing details emerged. Hayworth had been a model employee for 3 years before Emma's disappearance. His colleagues described him as quiet but helpful, someone who always volunteered for extra shifts. No one suspected his sinister intentions. Lead investigator Detective James Morrison revealed to Meyer how Hayworth had planned the crime meticulously. He studied the store's movement patterns for months. He knew when the fitting rooms were least monitored, when employees took their breaks. He timed everything. The construction of the secret room had been ingenious and terrible. Hayworth had taken advantage of the store's renovation to create a section of walls that appeared structural but was actually hollow. The two-way mirror allowed him to observe the fitting rooms while remaining hidden. He had installed minimal ventilation and a rudimentary plumbing system connected to the building's main pipes. He planned to keep Emma alive, Dr. Martinez explained to Maya and Linda. This wasn't an impulsive crime. He wanted a daughter he could completely control. What makes this even more disturbing is that he genuinely believed he was saving her from something. Maya discovered that Hayworth had left a diary of his own, found after his death in Florida. His entries revealed a deeply disturbed mind that justified his actions through twisted logic. Emma is special. She needs someone who understands her uniqueness. Her mother doesn't know how to care for such a gifted child. I'm teaching Emma about the real world. She's learning that only I can protect her from the bad people out there. Emma sometimes gets sad, but all children get sad when they learn important lessons. She'll understand when she's older. The entries stopped abruptly after 2 years, without explanation. Investigators speculated that Hayworth had moved to Florida when he began to suspect he might be discovered, abandoning Emma to die. Emma Chen's funeral was held in a small cemetery chapel, but it was attended by hundreds, many who had never known Emma but were touched by her story. Maya Rodriguez was there, still struggling with nightmares but determined to see Emma properly honored. Linda had chosen a small white casket, decorated with sunflowers, Emma's favorite flowers. She had found photos of her daughter smiling in a sunflower field. Just 2 weeks before the disappearance, she said sunflowers were like little sons we could take home, Linda remembered. The local pastor, Father Miguel Santos, had known Emma when she attended Sunday school. Emma was a child who asked profound questions, he said, during the sermon. She wanted to understand not just how things worked, but why they worked that way. Her curiosity about the world was contagious. During the ceremony, Linda read a letter she had written to Emma. My dearest Emma, 15 years have passed since you disappeared from my life, but not a single day has gone by without me thinking of you. I used to think the worst thing was not knowing. I used to lie awake wondering if you were out there somewhere, if you were calling for me, if you needed me. The not knowing was its own kind of hell. But Emma, you were brave, braver than I ever could have been. You held on to love even in that place. You held on to hope even when you were dying. You held on to your memories of being cherished, being wanted, being someone's precious little girl. That monster took your life, but he couldn't take your spirit. He couldn't take the love we shared. He couldn't take the joy you brought into the world. Reading your diary, I see that you never stopped loving me. That gives me strength to forgive. Not him, never him, but to forgive myself for all the times I didn't pay enough attention, for all the times I said, wait a minute, when you wanted to talk, for letting you go alone into that fitting room. You were perfect, Emma. You always were perfect, and wherever you are now, I hope you have sunflowers. Maya approached Linda after the service. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry it took so long to find her. Linda took Maya's hands in hers. You brought her home, she said. After 15 years, you brought my baby home. You gave me the chance to say goodbye. That's not something to apologize for. That's something to be proud of. In the months that followed, Linda established the Emma Chen Foundation, dedicated to improving security measures for children in public spaces and supporting families of missing children. The foundation worked with lawmakers to require more comprehensive security cameras in stores, better training protocols for employees, and faster alert systems when a child disappears. Maya left her job at Target, but remained involved with the foundation, speaking at schools and community centers about the importance of vigilance and awareness. She also sought therapy to deal with the trauma of her discovery, working with Dr. Martinez to process the images and emotions that tormented her. "You saved other children by finding Emma," Dr. Martinez told Maya during a session. "Your discovery led to changes that will protect children for years. That's a powerful legacy born from a terrible tragedy." The Target store where Emma disappeared underwent significant changes. The fitting room where she was captured was permanently sealed, but not before Linda spent one afternoon there alone. She brought flowers, white roses, Emma's favorites, and spoke to the space where her daughter at last stood free. "I love you, baby," she whispered. "I never stopped looking. I never stopped hoping. And now I know you never stopped loving me either." The store still operates, but it's different now. Employees are trained differently. Security protocols have changed. Parents hold their children closer. The horror of what happened created ripples of protection that will safeguard other children for years to come. 2 years after the discovery, Maya and Linda had become close friends, united by their shared experience and their commitment to honoring Emma's memory. They met monthly for coffee, sometimes talking about Emma, sometimes just enjoying each other's company. Linda had begun attending a support group for grieving parents, where she met others who had lost children under tragic circumstances. "I never thought I'd be able to help anyone," she told Maya. "But I discovered that sharing Emma's story, talking about how she maintained her humanity under impossible circumstances, it gives hope to other parents." Maya had found purpose in her work with the foundation, but she had also discovered love again. She met Carlos, a private investigator who had worked on Emma's case, and they began a relationship based on mutual understanding and respect for the darker aspects of human nature. "You see the worst of people in this work," Carlos told Maya one evening, as they walked through the park where Emma used to play. "But you also see the best, the mother who never gives up, the woman who finds a lost child, the people who turn tragedy into protection for others." Linda had also found an unexpected form of peace. She began volunteering at a local shelter for at-risk children, using her experiences to help children who had faced their own traumas. Emma would be 17 now, Linda told Maya during one of their monthly meetings. "Sometimes I imagine what she'd be like, if she'd have long hair or short, if she'd still like sunflowers, if she'd be learning to drive, worrying about boys, complaining about homework." Maya held Linda's hand. "She would have been extraordinary." "She already was extraordinary," Linda replied. "What that man did doesn't change that. Emma faced the unthinkable and never lost her capacity to love. That's extraordinary." 5 years after the discovery, Maya drives past the cemetery where Emma is buried. The headstone is simple but beautiful. "Emma Chen, beloved daughter, forever 8, forever free." Below it, Linda had inscribed words from Emma's diary. "I wish I could see the sun again." Maya always stops to leave flowers, sunflowers bright and bold, turned toward the light. The site has become a pilgrimage point for families of missing children. They come from distant states to leave flowers, letters, small toys. Linda installed a bench nearby where people can sit and reflect. The Emma Chen Foundation has grown to become a national organization, advocating for stricter child safety laws and providing resources for families in crisis. They have helped find 12 missing children and implemented safety protocols in thousands of stores across the country. Maya now directs educational programs for the foundation, visiting schools to teach children about personal safety, without unnecessarily frightening them. She married Carlos, and they adopted 2 siblings whose parents died in a car accident. Emma taught me that love can survive the unthinkable, Maya tells the children she visits. She taught me that, even in the darkest places, we can choose to be kind, choose to have hope, choose to care for each other. Linda continues her work at the shelter and established a mentorship program where adults who have lost children help children who have lost parents. Shared grief becomes shared strength, she explains. On quiet nights, Linda still looks into Emma's room, preserved as it was 15 years ago. But now she also sees the hundreds of letters from families the foundation has helped, photos of children who have been found, certificates of recognition from child safety organizations. Emma, you saved so many children, she whispers to the empty room. Your story made the world safer. Your love made people kinder. You may not have gotten to grow up, but your impact grew beyond what we ever imagined. Because even in the darkest places, even after the most terrible things, something good can still grow. Love endures, hope survives, and sometimes, just sometimes, the lost can still find their way home. Sunlight streams through Emma's bedroom window, illuminating a new photo on the nightstand. A picture of the latest child the foundation helped reunite with her family. An 8-year-old girl with a gap-toothed smile, holding sunflowers, free to see the sun again. Emma's legacy continues, one saved child at a time, one act of kindness at a time, one moment of hope at a time. Because true love never dies, it just grows, spreads, and illuminates the darkest corners of the world with a light that no darkness can extinguish.